Hey everybody, happy Sunday, fun day. We are on our way to Rockwood to go look at a few homes with a buyer. And I got some windshield time. And I want to talk about updates, upgrades, improvements, right? And even talk about repairs to an extent in this video. So full disclosure, right? If you talk to 10 different realtors, you probably get 10 different opinions on this. At the end of the day, it's all educated guessing. It's all, an opinion, based on experiences and, what my opinion is based on what I see in this every day. And so generally that's going to greatly affect my opinion when I'm giving advice to people. But often when I'm meeting with sellers and the conversation comes up of, updates, repairs, upgrades, improvements, however you want to kind of categorize all that stuff, I kind of almost throw it all in a bucket, essentially. And it's like, well, what should I do, right? What can I do to get the most money out of my house? That's kind of where that conversation goes. Now, I always tell people I'm usually on the side that errs on doing anything. Unless it's kind of like what I call like a 3-to-1 ratio, meaning you can spend $1 and we pretty much are going to get close to guaranteeing you to get $3 in return. And in doing that, in doing that, worst case scenario, you get $2 to your one return. Worst, unforeseen, worst case, you break even, right? And I think at the end of the day, if you're a gambling person, and if you can spend $1 for a chance at 3 or a chance at 2, but like worst case you break even, probably makes sense, right? You're probably going to roll the dice there and go with it. But it's very rare for updates, improvements, stuff to get to that number, in my opinion. And I think you got to categorize this in different price points because different price points have different types of buyers with different types of mindsets, different types of expectations, right? I go into a house that's $200,000 house, right? I'm not really talking to you about doing some paint touching, right? Now I go in your house, it's an $800,000 house. We're probably talking about every little minor detail touch up because of the expectation the buyer has at an $800,000 price point versus a $200,000 price point. So again, it's all kind of just an educated guess, but a lot of people get caught up, right, in getting the value out of something of what they paid for it. And I just don't think it's true. So we'll start off with a roof, right? Hey, Steven, you know what? Just put a brand new roof on, right? Paid $16,000, right? So my house is now worth $16,000 more. Doesn't work like that, right? Your house is supposed to have a good working roof with no issues, right? Your house is supposed to have it. So now, do I comp a house different if it's got a 1-year-old roof versus a 22-year-old roof? A little bit, yes. Obviously, the likelihood and a buyer's preference is going to be going with a home with a 1-year-old roof versus a 22-year-old roof, right? Of course. So can it be the difference of a buyer saying, you know what, man, I can buy this house here. I don't got to worry about replacing a roof. This house over here, I might have to replace the roof in 1, 2, 3, 5 years, something like that, right? So it's in the back of their head. And depending on the buyer's financial situation, a lot of them, they don't have $16,000 sitting around today, right? I mean, I think economics is like saying that we're the most in debt we've ever been. The average household is, is more in debt than it's ever been in the history. So people, they don't want to know that, man, I might have to replace this roof. I might have to replace this HVAC, right? And buying this house and moving in it. But again, just because you as a seller spend $16,000 to put a new roof, it doesn't all of a sudden jump your house price up $16,000, right? You got to kind of prorate what the typical, having a good roof is already in play there. And that kind of plays into everything else, right? If you went down of windows, right? You go into the house, got those old crappy wood windows or chip and paint. They don't even open and close. They've been painted shut. Right? I'm going in there. I'm like, hey guys, if you're just going to live here 1 to 2 years, which is at that point you shouldn't even be buying a home. But if you're going to be here kind of long term, you really need to replace these windows because of your energy efficiency, right? So you're kind of getting a return back there. But at the same time, you go out and you spend $20,000 on all new windows. It doesn't make the home worth $20,000 more because the home already had windows, right? So again, a good portion of that was just having the windows. Because you upgraded them, doesn't mean it's worth that much more. And where people get caught up is going with brand names, right? And I'm going to give you, right, companies on commercials. Companies that advertise, 50-year shingle. I'll be honest, I'm very, I don't know what the right word is. Like warranties in general are crap in my opinion. These companies will find every way to get out of a warranty, whether if it's warranty on a foundation repair, warranty on windows, warranty on shingles, right? 30-year shingles. Well, usually the shingles don't fail. It's you've had a damage, something's happened to it, wind blew it off. Well, wind blows up your shingle, warranty doesn't cover that. It's not covered. It's for the shingles not doing their job. Shingles didn't do their job. Well, let's say the roofer installed it wrong, right? And that roofer is crap Joe and Schmo, and that warranty that only includes like maybe the first year of parts and labor or whatever it is, and then after that, they don't warranty anything. Well, 3 years later, a whole thing of shingles slides off your roof because it wasn't nailed down properly. Well, that company, it's not the shingles' fault it wasn't nailed down properly, right? The shingles did what they did. It was the installation. So these warranties let me buy, and I'm just going to give you an example, right? Renewal by Andersen Windows. Great window, top of the line, probably, I think they're $1 billion company or more. But they're going to be like 3 or 4 times the price of Joe Schmo window company that comes out that's just the small business here in Knoxville does windows. Because they're going to sell you on the lifetime warranty and all this stuff that honestly they're going to find a way out of. They're never going to, it's just not going to happen. And as well, I'll give you the example as me as a realtor, when I walk in a house with my buyer, at no point are they like, oh, look at these great windows. I'm only going to buy it if it's XYZ brand. They don't care about the brand. Same thing with the builder. A lot of people get caught up. We do a lot of DR ordinance. I think dollar for dollar, that's probably one of the best deals you can get. Has been for the last 4 or 5 years since I've been doing them. A lot of people hate on them. I don't hate on them because you can't find a custom builder to do it for that price. And the expectation is, yes, you're getting a brand new home, but you're not paying custom builder prices. So therefore, yes, is there going to be some small blemishes and it's not, perfect? Yes, but what you're getting on the open market is not going to be perfect anyways. And I've never went into a second or third home, it's been bought and sold, and they're like, oh, who's the builder? I'm not going to buy this house because ABC built this 5 years ago. They don't even know. They don't even care. So paying more for the brand is not ever worth it, in my opinion. Paying more for this warranty and lifetime warranty, that's transferable, right, is never worth it, in my opinion. And yet, I might be wrong. You talk to different builders, 10 different opinions. But ultimately, that's where I kind of look at that. And almost never will it make sense to then spend that dollar. Well, obviously it makes sense. Almost never do I find it able to make sense to where you can spend $1 and get that $3 in return. Now, touch-ups, right? Small repairs, cleaning, stuff like that. Depending on the price point, depending on location, depending on what type of buyer is going to be viewing this, those are, yes, conversations we will have, right? Putting nice black mulch around the flower beds, getting the place nice and cleaned up, yes. Doing, what you can minimally to then make it take better photos, get more people in the door. I think all that makes sense. And it's great to use it and say, oh, house has a brand new roof, house has a brand new HVAC. But you can't go out, spend $100,000 on a kitchen remodel, and then come back and say, well, now my house is worth $100,000 more. No, it's not. What that number is, from what it's actually worth is debatable, right? There isn't facts. It's not like, hey, here's your hard number of what it's going to be worth. Now, the company's telling you that. They're all going to say, oh, it's improvement. You get your money back out of it. No worries. But you got to look at the flipping side, right? So their whole flipping industry, right? So they go in, let's just say, not all jobs are like gut jobs or starting over, essentially. They may go in and, they may update the kitchen, right? They may update the counter, the bathrooms, and right? They may add a nice walk-in shower from a fiberglass shower. They do those updates to get improvements, but you can also do improvements to an extent of pricing your house out of the market. It's another conversation. I have a lot of sellers, especially on manufactured homes. Big fan of manufactured homes. Do a lot of them. Grew up in them. We own one as a rental. I am a very big fan of keeping everything low-end, builder's grade type repairs, materials, everything on those. Because if you go in and you start making your manufactured home too nice and you do nice repairs, you will never get your money up because there's not comps out there to justify it. Also, there's a price threshold. I usually say around $250,000 if it's not on acreage. That the buyer's mindset kind of flips. Above $250,000, very rarely do you see somebody that wants a manufactured home. Below $250,000, yes, a lot of times because bang for your buck, right? You can get a nice brand new manufactured home on a nice lot for around that 250 mark, right? Well, you can't touch it. A home similar finishing, similar square footage, on all that, you can't touch a stick built for that price. So it's just things to compare. But what I generally tell people, talk to your agent, right, before you make any repairs. Now, hopefully your agent is honest with you, because this is what I will say on the flip side, right? The more you do to your home, the more improvements, the more repairs, the more upgrades, updates, all that you do to your home, the easier it is for me to sell it. Now, I'm not going to say it's easier for me to sell it at the price you think it's worth. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's just easier to sell a home that doesn't need updates, upgrades, improvements, right, repairs. A lot easier to sell it. You may not agree with the price it sells for, but it's a lot easier for an agent to sell. So a lot of times they will, like, yeah, you need to do all this, you do this. And I've met with sellers, met with other agents, and they said, other agents don't need to do all this and repaint this whole room. And I always look at the mindset of, is the buyer going to walk in here and not give you an offer because of it? And if so, yes, we need to talk about it. We need to figure it out. We need to do it. But if it's not going to prevent a buyer from getting an offer, don't worry about it. Let's roll with it. And again, different price points, different buyer mindsets. So, yeah, wanted to do this video to kind of bring people in and let them know, like, you don't always get dollar for dollar out of it. Now, there are times, again, talking like the flipper perspective, right? If you get in a home really well, sure, you do some updates, upgrades. You got to make sure the comps are there, though, in order to get all that money back out. But I think it's a conversation. You got to have in detail. Every case is going to be different. But again, just because you spend $10,000 on updating your master bath, is it going to guarantee you that you're going to get $10,000 in return? You're going to get some of that back. Are we going to make your house sell easier? Maybe, it's the difference of it was worth way less before, but yeah, there's always questions on stuff like this.